Welcome to Navigating the Aftermath, the podcast where we explore the journey of rebuilding and rediscovery after life storms. Join us as we delve into stories of resilience, triumph, and transformation, offering insights and inspiration to guide you through your own path of healing and growth. Welcome to part 2 of Leap of Faith episode, where we continue to discover the journeys of two courageous women who went beyond religious beliefs. If you would give an advice to your younger selves that you discovered that you were sinful in the eyes of the religion, and did you ever feel like you would have done it earlier, like came out earlier or decided to switch the religions earlier if you knew something like that secret ingredient? What would that be?
Yeah, it's a good question. You or me?
You can go first.
Okay. So for me, for my younger self, I think I would have come out sooner, honestly. My grandpa once told me, he said that, well, another saying in the church is that we have a light about us. Like, by being members of this organization, we have the light of Christ with us. And so my grandpa told me, he's like, when I was just asking him questions before I had left, he was just like, yeah, people who leave, they just, they don't have that light about them anymore. And so for me and my relationship with my grandparents, like that meant everything to me. And I didn't want to lose this light, but, and even when I left the church, I actually asked him, I said, hey, don't I, Grandpa, don't I still have the light though? And he was just like, you do, it's just a lot dimmer. And so that that one was really, really hard for me. But that inspired a lot of different things in my life and in my career. But for my younger self, I would say, like, you have always had light. Everybody has light. Everybody has intuition. Everybody is just their unique, beautiful self. And you don't need any kind of organization or any kind of group to take control of that. Just be you. And I wish that my younger self would just have not been scared of that and thought that maybe people could see because of this light. But no, I've always had it. I will always have it. We all do. So that's what I would say.
Yeah. I don't think that I would have changed anything about my timing or my journey, just because I am really grateful for the things that I have learned in it. And I feel like there were lessons that I needed to learn before exiting. However, I would like to go tell my younger self that it's okay to love everybody. I feel like when I was in the church, and it's to no one else's fault except for my own, but I was very narrow-minded. There was one way to live life. There was one way to be successful in life. And I judged harshly those who didn't fit into that mold that I had pictured. Granted, a lot of that does come from the church, and the teachings. It is especially here in Utah, it is a white religion, a religion of privilege, and even a religion of even if you don't have a lot, you show that you have a lot. You try to you come to church looking really nice, and it's just kind of everyone kind of has this facade a little bit, in my experience. And so I feel like I didn't really love very fully to people growing up, and into my 20s, when I finally figured out no, you know what, everyone deserves love. I don't know. So now I feel like my capacity to love people is infinitely greater. It's been so cool, and such a cool experience to just experience that and feel that. because this is new to me. I've only been feeling this much love for people for 4 years, and I'm 31, you know, so like my whole life I've missed out on all that love. So I think that's what I would go back and tell my younger self, is like it really is okay to love everybody. You don't need to be afraid of anyone. You don't need to judge anyone by their choices. Nothing. Like, it's okay.
Yes, and it all started with you accepting who you are.
Yeah.
You can really truly love. And I so agree. How can somebody take the light out of us if we're born with that? Like, nobody can take it from us. And realizing this, that can be a game changer. And I'm
Yeah.
wondering the spiritual aspect. How, like, what role did spirituality play in your decision making, and how did the spiritual journey evolved since you switching to like a new religion? Or another question, like throwing a bunch of questions at you guys. Are you a part of a religion, or it's more the spirituality you're focusing on?
Yeah. So for me, I think we're a little bit different on this. For me personally, um, right now, it could change. I'm sure it will change. I don't know. But right now, I am okay with the idea of, um, like, this is, one life, that once we die, we're dead. I'm okay with not having anything in the afterlife, which I think, at least for me growing up in the Mormon religion, was a lot of that, is like, what happens when you die and things like that. So for me, I am okay with where I'm at now, just kind of accepting like the here and now. I do believe a lot in like energy, that we're all connected through energy. I believe a lot in like the universe has energy, and it plays into us, and um our hearts are the biggest energy producer in our bodies, and that energy can be felt and measured scientifically 6 feet away from us. And I don't know, so I think that that's where I'm at, is like just learning that. I'm obviously very new at that concept, and um but that's where I'm at, energy, and we're all kind of connected that way, but not necessarily anything happens when we die, and we didn't necessarily come from anywhere. That's kind of, I don't have any answers for that, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And for me, I right away joined Scientology. Just kidding. Just kidding. No.
I was like, wait, what? That was an unexpected twist.
Gotcha. No. It's so funny because
That was good.
a lot of it's funny, a lot of people in the LDS faith will say like, oh my gosh, have you seen the Scientologists and the crazy things that they do in that religion? And I'm like, do you not see all the parallels? It's very, very interesting. So no, for me, I'm pretty similar in that I like going back to that story about light, is just we have it in us, and by not really adhering or prescribing to another religion, it leaves the doors wide open for any ideas. And I love being curious about life, and there's so much to explore. And so for me, I definitely do not like the idea of organized religion. I don't think religion should take ownership of the beautiful things in life, like your soul, love, just any of it. It's not something that they should have done. And I think, taking back all of that and reclaiming it has given me so much happiness, and so way more happiness than I had when I was in that organization. But yeah, I'm not a fan of organized religion, and I'm just excited to always be curious about life and continue learning. So
Yeah. And Dallas, you mentioned 6 feet, the radius of our energy, and also COVID that was kind of like leading you up to that change. And I was like, yeah, that's so perfect, right? Like, I'm a very sensitive person, I miss that 6 feet. Like everybody stay away from me. Otherwise, I feel people are in my space a lot, especially in the grocery store, like somebody hovering over my shoulder. When I'm paying, I always want to be the person saying, "Do you want to pay for my groceries?" I probably will say it at some point. But it's really interesting, that correlation. Would you like to really expand on that?
Yeah. What do you mean? Like the correlation between,
Like you mentioned, like 6 feet, that you like really believe in energy, and then you mentioned in the beginning of our conversation that like what was leading you up to the decision of leaving the religious institute, like you said, the COVID times. And I'm
Mhm.
just curious because it's right, like in COVID we were told keep 6 feet away, and I was
Yeah,
like, oh, it's kind of like they go together in my mind. So I'm curious how it's for you.
yeah, that's a really good connection. I haven't made that connection till just now, but I think you're absolutely right. I think for like, yeah, it's really lucky, I feel, that I did get to like kind of explore who I was during that time. Cause yeah, then I wasn't able to have any like conflicting messages or it just gave me the space to kind of breathe, figure it out for myself, and like really like figure out what I want. Because I do tend to, growing up, I did tend to, because I don't do it anymore. I did tend to like look to my parents to like what was I supposed to do. Um, like even choosing what to study in school. I remember telling them, I want to do graphic design. And then their comment back was, oh, so and so is a graphic designer and he always has trouble finding work and doesn't make very much money. And so I was like, oh, okay, I won't do that then. And now that's like basically what I'm doing. And it's, forever later, I wish I would have just done it then, followed my heart then. So I think that's what COVID gave me, is that space to, yeah, just feel my own energy, like you said, not have any conflicting like messages or input, and just kind of figure out for myself who I am and what my beliefs are and everything.
Yeah. And and something really quick to add to that, because you had mentioned with that 6 feet, the energy and having 6 feet around you be filled with your own energy. Do you want to talk about the science behind that? Because I think that's really cool. Or I can if you want.
Okay.
Okay, so get this. So you know how with our brains, like all the neurons that are working together, they've done studies that show that our hearts have those same kind of neurons. And so they have now put words to why we have intuition, because we have these neural pathways that are working with our heart as well. And so this like 6 feet of energy, and like understanding that we can get our own answers, and feeling like just having that intuition of like, oh, this person I need to stay away from. Oh, bring this person in. It's because our heart really can feel. It has that um that I don't know.
Yeah. So they did a study.
Yeah.
Um, um, they did a study with photos on a computer screen, and they also monitored your heart, your brain. Like they just monitored every like biofeedback that they can get from your heart, your brain, things like that. Um, they would show a photo that would like be happy, so like a dog or flowers, the ocean, mountains, whatever. And there was no change in the heart, in its like firing or connections or anything. No negative changes. And then they showed a photo of like a shark or spiders or something scary, um clowns, I don't know, whatever scares you, right? So they would then show a photo of something scary, and they found that the heart would react to the photo before the photo was shown. So the photo hadn't even shown up, and the heart knew intuitively that there was like danger and it reacted, which is so interesting. And yeah, I want to like read more about those studies and that research to figure out like why that is. Like, how do our hearts know that? I don't know,
Yeah.
and
That
yeah,
is
like,
fascinating. Yeah, I own a horse and I work with horses, observing them, how tuned in they are with each other personal spaces, and they have signals to each other. You're welcome in my space or you're not welcome in my space. Nobody gets offended. And I just wrote an article about it, like did what happened to us that we lost that, because every time we like put the boundaries on, somebody gets offended, right? Usually the person who really can benefit, like we can benefit from having boundaries with this person. And it's really interesting how we are wired. It's our instincts. We're kind of like moving away from that. And listen to you guys, and what I know about religion, I'm more spiritual than religious, even though I was baptized. So it's kind of like we lose that piece of spirituality in the religion. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I think with any religion, like with the horses, they don't have other horses being like, hey, you should do this, or hey, you should, like, giving them ideas and programming them that way. But like with religion or any kind of organization, like we are programmed to not listen to our hearts anymore and just to conform, and intuition does get lost. So um
and I think like, religions don't mean to, um that I think majority of religions don't mean to do that. However, they they all are in it to make money, right? They do need to make money somehow, because they got to keep the bills on or the lights on and pay the bills. So they need to make money somehow, and I think that's where it kind of like shifts, to where they do kind of start monopolizing the spirit or your intuition, or um, if you have a instinct to do a certain thing, then they're going to try to take claim over that, and then you're going to, go to them more and more because you want more guidance, and then when they pass the tray around, you're going to give more money, right? So I don't know. I think some religions try really hard, but I do feel like that, just the fact that they do need to make money kind of muddies the water of spirituality, I feel.
yeah, and I think it's so important for all of us to just like, because we both have both of those centers, we have our heart and we have our mind. And since our mind has kind of been programmed already by other influences, is when we can drop down into our heart and actually listen to it, then there's so much more, like there's way more answers, way more inspiration there. Um, but yeah, and I think that's something that Dallas and I too were kind of exploring too, is just like silence. No more not as much input from people, from our parents, from society, from all these things. Like we've kind of discovered our hearts through all of this. And and that's been amazing.
Yeah, it kind of like connected, because so many times that, yeah, religion, it's like a lot about the head, that programming, and kind of like keep doing, and then discovering the heart and kind of connecting these two centers. That is kind of like a true awakening.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering how, like, what the lessons were in the navigating the aftermath, and most importantly, how it shaped this navigation of the aftermath of leaving the religion, like how it shaped your lives.
So believing, can you restate it? So
Sure.
believing in the
So,
religion.
what lessons you learned through the navigation of the aftermath of leaving the religion, and most importantly, how it has shaped your life? Like, I'm hinting towards you started coaching people on how to do these things, and like And Dallas, you mentioned like you always wanted to be the graphic designer and you started doing more of that. So it sounds to me like all the positive changes. And from my perspective, I'm really, of course, curious to hear how it actually is.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say for me, that story where my grandpa said that my light was dimmer, and how that hurt so much. And it took a while to kind of get that confidence and strength back. And so I have a company now called the Bright Beam Collective. And this is a place where everybody is welcome. And I do coaching within this space to help people understand that they have the answers inside of them. And so a lot of my coaching revolves around listening to your own heart. And I'm very, very careful to be like, hey, I don't want to, yes, I have that title of a coach, but you are the coach. And so I prompt them to find understanding within themselves. And it's beautiful when people can understand that they don't need to give that away or look for instruction outside of themselves. And so for me, it kind of shaped my whole career because now I'm so passionate about it, and I don't want people to be scared of themselves and to follow leaders or organizations blindly, and I want them to have a place where they can come be themselves in any capacity, and it totally shaped where I am now. And so I'm so glad that I finally made this decision to leave, because now I think the impact that I can have on others is so much greater than it ever would have been if I were to stay in the religion. And so, yeah, in the religion, we have testimony meeting where we get up to the pulpit and say what we believe is true. And so I just wanted, so with all of that, that is my new testimony, is that, that we have light in us, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Love it. Dallas, how it's for you?
Yeah. So for me, navigating the aftermath of religion and everything, yeah, it has just, put simply, it has allowed me to live authentic in every way. In my, choosing who to date, it's been more authentic, as well as in my career choice. So yeah, I went to school for, ended up going to school for athletic training because I knew a lot about that. I, ended up graduating with a degree in exercise science, thought I was going to work in, like a gym or open my own gym, maybe teach PE, which is what my mom did. And so just kind of, opening those doors and just being like, no, what do I really want to do? And so then so when I decided to leave and when everything was happening with COVID, they both happened at the same time. I went back to school. I got my master's in marketing. And so I do marketing now, which I love. And I get to be creative and I get to design, and I love it. I love waking up and going to work every day, which is not something that I was able to say before. So that's awesome. And then I also, like I said earlier, my capacity to love is a lot greater. And I also coach volleyball. So I am a very big sports person, but yeah, I coach volleyball, and I took a break right after COVID hit from coaching because I didn't feel like I was being like my best coach, because one was dealing with, trying to figure out who I am, everything that comes with leaving something that is such a big part of you. There was just a lot going on, right? And so I decided to take a year off of coaching and just like really figure out who I was and what my values were and things like that. And I'm back this year, coaching my girls, and like it's made me a much better coach than I ever would have been able to be. I am able to like show the girls that I love every single one of them, and that I want them to be better, and I'm also there for them. And it's just a different capacity than I had before. And so yeah, I feel like that it's affected me in those ways, and yeah, just a lot. And I never really I always used to say I was afraid of feelings, or I always said I don't have feelings. Before, like when I was in the church, I always said I don't have feelings. Everyone's like, everyone has feelings. And I was like, yeah, but not me. um, and now I'm like, it's okay to feel my feelings and talk about them. And, so I'm a lot more, I feel like I'm just a lot more alive and awake, and not as much of a, like, kind of a zombie, just doing what I was supposed to do. Don't feel your feelings, because that's scary, because that doesn't allow you to do what you're supposed to do. Right. So now it's just a lot more beautiful. I can feel my feelings. I can love everyone deeply. I can, you know, all the things, do my career that I want to do. So,
Oh, so beautiful, that journey of big expansion.
mm,
I envision so many wonderful things and so many lives that you guys touch with that, because I feel it radiating through the computer. I was like, oh my God, it's so incredible. And what advice would you give to somebody who's considering about leaving the religion and expanding like you guys have been doing, um, or like in the process of doing so? What would be a piece of advice you would give such a person?
yeah, I think I'd say, so I don't, there's a movie scene. I don't remember the movie. Dang it. But the scene, they're holding onto a ledge, like a rock ledge, and it's like misty, and they think that it's this big drop, and they're really afraid to let go of this ledge, but there's no way they can like get back up or get back to safety, and so they just have to let go of the ledge and hope that they're okay. Um, and again, they think it's like this really big drop, and it's really scary because they just can't see. And then they let go, and it's like they just like barely land. It's like not even that big of a drop or anything. Um, I think I'd say that like it seems really, really, really scary. It seems really, really, really hard, and it is. But once you let go and you like look back, it's not as hard or as scary as you thought it was going to be. But it is just getting that courage to trust yourself that you can do it, and do it.
Yeah, amazing. And our listeners, like, call for help if you know the movie. Please leave in the comments down below. Let us know.
That's not the name.
Lindsay, what about you? What advice would you give?
I would just say we spend so much time worrying about the what if. Like, we're on this ledge. What if it is 50 feet, 100 feet? And yeah, that's terrifying. But we also cause ourselves so much anxiety with just the worry phase. I spent 10 years worrying, oh, should I stay in this religion? Should I leave? What's my family going to think? And that was just so much turmoil, so much anxiety for so long. And so I think if somebody who's listening, if they have a big decision to make and they have that feeling of they need to make a change, one, it's your intuition talking to you, so listen. And then two, for me, any decision that I've made that I was so scared of, I've always been able to connect the dots afterwards, and it was much easier than I thought it would be. And so I think, yeah, go for whatever change you need to make, and don't spend so much time worrying about the decision itself.
Yeah. And if a person is looking for support but doesn't have that, like in the friends or family, where can they find you? Where can they find your community?
Oh yeah, so for me, if you go to the brightbeam.co, you can find me there. I have a lot of resources for you to talk with me about coaching. And I even actually, I put on there just the other day, a nervous system reset. So speaking of all the anxiety that we have from making decisions and from stepping into the unknown, our nervous system really takes a hit. And so on the brightbeam.co, on the main page, I have a free resource where you can actually get a walkthrough of this nervous system reset. And yeah, so that's where you can find me.
Yeah. You can just follow me on Instagram. I don't have a website, but it's just Dallas Horn 5.
Beautiful. Yeah. And I ask this recurring question every episode. And you guys touched on this. So think about one big thing. What has been the most transformative lesson that you have learned from navigating the aftermath of leaving the religion, and how has it shaped your approach to relationships?
Ooh, I like that question. So for me, I found out that people are way cooler than I thought they were. So just in that, I was so scared of what everybody was going to think, right? But then when I did leave, and the reaction I got from my family and my friends, they really were so loving and so caring. And they gave me that hope in humanity again, and that everything was going to be okay. And that really opened up my heart. My heart was kind of closed off in that religion because I was scared. But then when I saw the love that was outside, and the acceptance that I didn't think I was going to get, it has totally changed the way I see relationships and the way that I connect with people, because my heart's way more open. And I believe the same in the person I'm with, is that they have a much bigger and much open heart than I had realized previously.
Yeah, my biggest thing is that it's to trust myself, that I can go through the hard thing, I can be patient through the hard thing, and I can come out stronger. And that has changed me a ton, and it's changed my relationships, because I do feel a lot more patient in a lot of my relationships, and like I said earlier, more loving. I feel like those two go hand in hand for me. So yeah, it like I don't resist hard things as much as I used to. Just because for me it's shown me that the hard things are good, and I am capable of being patient through them, learning through them, and it really is for the better on the other end.
And I take it that you ladies met after you decided to have this leap of faith, pun intended. That that is like after your commitment to yourselves, right? That you met after your decisions.
Yep. Yeah. So I had left. I've been gone from the church about 2 years when we met, and
I had been gone about 5.
so
And yeah, we were
it's been
both
good.
able to just be ourselves and find a love that is true.
Yes, and I can, like I mentioned, I feel how loving you both are towards the world and each other, and how much respect and trust you guys have, and it's amazing. It's really beaming, and that you have this like beaming light, right? It's amazing. So it's given hope for all of us to find that soulmate, that person. Once you find the soulmate inside of yourself and really be who you are, really stand in your truth and give yourself that true genuine love, it's so amazing. I had so much fun, and I hope you guys did too. And to all of our listeners, just please remember that taking this leap of faith, it can be scary, and the drop can seem really deep and just infinite, but there is that soft ground that you can land on, and there are always helping hands around, and you can really change your life, find your calling, find your soulmate, and be the happiest that you have ever been. Thank you, ladies, so much. I really appreciate you joining me here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us. That was really fun.
Thank you for joining us on Navigating the Aftermath. Remember, no matter how challenging the journey may seem, you are not alone. Subscribe for more empowering stories, practical wisdom to help you navigate life's twists and turns. Until next time, keep moving forward with courage and conviction.